Welcome to Rick's Firearm Academy of Detroit's personal protection tips. This feature, as part of our ongoing education of citizens, is designed to empower, edify, and to enable you to protect yourself and to be safe. Every episode of this feature, we deliver at least one easy to understand tip that will make you more safe, whether you live in the urban cities, out in the suburbs, or out in more rural environs. Now, before I go ahead and get started with today's tip, I want to pass along some promotional info about this channel. This channel uh, it has been going on, it has been established for a number of years. I have over 2,000 videos on this channel that deal with personal protection, gun rights, gun legislation, and living a free existence in the world. Now, among the personal protection tips you'll find here, we will cover things that will protect you at home, when you're away from home, when you're at work, or wherever you may legally be. If you like anything that you have seen on my channel or in specific in this video, please take the opportunity to leave some positive feedback on my channel. If you like this video, give me an official like, forward it over to your friends, subscribe to the channel, and you know what? Take a second to leave a comment, and I will get to it, check it out, and give you some feedback on your feedback. Motivation, you know, help me stay motivated to continue these personal protection tips. Feedback I've gotten has been largely positive, and hopefully we can keep that string going. So let's go ahead with today's personal protection tip. Today's personal protection tip is to properly maintain the maintenance and upkeep of your real property to deter predatory home invaders. When I say real property just means real estate. You know, it's real, it's not portable, it's the actual physical existence of your space on planet Earth. When we're talking about personal protection at home, you know, there's three major layers of protection that you need to concern yourself with. The outermost layer concerns itself with the actual grounds and the physical land upon which your residence or structure is situated. And then, of course, we're talking about the house proper. Generally speaking, most people come into or exit a home or some type of structure by either a door, or believe it or not, they could come in through a window. And then, of course, if you want to focus on safety inside the home, there's a concept known as a safe room. Now, I'm not going to talk about safe rooms or strengthening doors and windows in this episode. In this episode, I'm going to focus solely on your property on which your home sits. A well maintained residence does not afford criminals the requisite cover to break into your home. Essentially, you want to imply that your home is occupied. Routine upkeep includes, obviously, mowing your lawn, edging your lawn, removing and discarding handbills. And some of you are like thinking, well, what are handbills? Well, in the free enterprise system that exists in this country, Advertising is the lifeblood of business, and one cost effective way for some businesses to get the word out about their services or products is to pay canvassers, people, to walk the streets, to walk through your neighborhood and put little 8.5 by 11 flyers on your property. And they can be rather annoying at sometimes because they don't seem to put them in the same location. Many times they'll blow off and just create litter on your lawn, and I'm thinking to myself, if only the advertiser knew how bad of a job these canvassers are doing with his image in print on these handbills. But I tell you, when I see these handbills, I see them and I take a quick glance at them and I pitch them. But sometimes, I find them rather annoying. But anyway, you want to focus on discarding those handbills. You want to address peeling paint that may be on your home, your structure. If your home is not poorly maintained, it may look dilapidated and people might see it. And of course, if it's, heaven forbid, an eyesore, you're not going to be a fan at your local neighborhood owners association meeting. But a poorly maintained property with peeling paint, that just sends a clue to bad guys that the home might not be occupied. And of course, if the home is not occupied, you're sending a message to vandals that your residence might be ripe for the picking for an attack. It's not uncommon in some neighborhoods and some large cities for, bad guys to go through looking for what they perceive to be unoccupied dwellings and to literally salvage anything that can be taken from that property. We're talking about things such as actual doors. They will physically remove your doors, they will physically remove your windows. They will take anything that's not nailed down and sell it in the secondhand market. And all it takes is for one house to start to make a neighborhood look bad, and then next thing you know, people start moving out, and then other structures in that neighborhood start to decay and deteriorate, and it just sets the scene for the bad element to come into the community and to the neighborhood. Also, you want to pay close attention to your steps, leading up to any porches you may have. Not only does that create a safety hazard for people who are visiting your home, but it also looks really bad. You want to make sure that your masonry is tight. In contrast, a poorly maintained property can send subtle signals to bad guys. Hey, come vandalize me further. And when you're talking about this whole concept of personal protection, this whole concept of layers, some additional things that you can do to make your home a more safe environment. You can actually have a dog. Dogs work wonders for discouraging bad guys from coming onto your property or even thinking about entering your home. You can actually have dog or dogs who are enclosed within your property who obviously present a safety concern for bad guys. Shrubberies, as long as you keep them properly maintained, not only does it look nice, but it sends a good picture, to people in your neighborhood that you care about your property. Signs work wonders too, when you're like, what kind of signs? Signs that say, warning, protected by Smith and Wesson. I have an alarm system. Whether you have an actual alarm or not, you want to at least make bad guys think that there's an opportunity for them to be caught. Now, I am aware of the fact that in some communities, such as Detroit, 911 calls for burglaries and home break-ins are at a low priority. When I say that, some people are surprised and they're kind of curious as to what I mean. But here in Detroit, at this current time, based on staffing levels of law enforcement, they can't readily apply, or shall I say, come to and answer calls for a system that relates to break-ins. They only want to come out if there's a break-in in progress. Part of these personal protection tips is to avoid the break-ins from happening, and one way of doing that is to properly maintain your home and make it look like someone's living there. Sometimes people actually live in a property, but they so poorly maintain it that, believe it or not, their home actually looks like it's vacant. If it was snowing in the wintertime, you want to make sure that you actually get the snow up, get the snow and ice up, and clear your walkways. Dogs we talked about already, but motion detectors, motion sensors, especially if you have them hooked up to lighting, they also not only send the message that your property is occupied, but it keeps bad guys at bay and deters them from investigating further. This has been another episode of Personal Protection Tips.